everybody, welcome back. I hope you're all doing well. I love this time of year. I went out for a walk earlier today with my dog Chia. I have to leave Leela behind, which is really sad. I have to put her in her little prison because she can't get around and run around, especially with us not being there. She could injure herself further. But I took Chia out for a lovely walk and look at the scenery. I know some of you guys love seeing the British countryside, and because I've moved to an incredibly beautiful part of the country, this is all new scenery for me as well, and I will continue to share these with you. So speaking of scenery, we're going back to Brazil where we left off last time, and we're continuing. Where were we actually last? Oh yes, it was Prince William playing polo and I was having a little bit of a hot flush. Well, still wearing his green shirt, he actually made history by becoming the first member of the British royal family to step foot on the lovely island of Phuket. The crowds were yet again ready and waiting, and they were so excited. One lady even launched her baby at the prince so she could get a photo of them together. Naturally, Prince William obliged. He's always a fan of little ones, after I think he got over the initial shock that she was just basically, here's my baby, you will pose for a photograph. After meeting with as many of the islanders as he could, he then jumped on another boat with some of the conservationists that work in the area. Whilst the media were there with him, alongside him for most of the journey, they couldn't follow him the entire way. But I was glad that they were there long enough to capture this pretty epic shot. I think he looks like he's in the opening scenes of a James Bond film. And this photograph definitely captured the hearts of many people on social media that were left swooning yet again. Now, I'm so sorry to bring up the other brother so quickly in this video. It's only briefly, but I've got to share this because this is the perfect moment. You've got Prince William here that's just looking out as he's approaching the island on the Navy boat. And then you've got Harry. As we know, he's trying to compete with his brother. Everybody believes that he has timed this trip on purpose. So to see Harry going out on his own boat trip with his personal photographer, I don't know. I mean, William looks natural here, but Harry looks like he's been taking acting classes off of his wife as he pretends that a photographer is not sat mere feet away from him. Even the two people on the boat with Harry look embarrassed for him. Someone needs to feel embarrassment for this couple, because I tell you what, their cringe levels of self-promotion is out of control. But anyway, back to the real royals and the future king. William met with representatives from the local community and also conservationists who work with the region's mangroves, which are incredibly environmentally important for multiple reasons. The mangroves serve as flood defences, they help prevent soil erosion, they are wonderful habitats for wildlife and brilliant ecosystems in themselves, and they are an incredibly important resource of income for local fishermen. William also took part in planting some of the saplings for the future generations of the mangroves. The island looked incredibly beautiful, but not as beautiful as all of the people that turned out. I mean, Brazil, overall, what I've seen the coverage over the last few days, put on an incredible welcome for Prince William, and I'm sure many of them are going to hold fond memories of this visit. Many people still talk about the visit that Princess Diana, Prince William's mum, had done many years beforehand. And Prince William also stood beneath the very famous statue, Christ the Redeemer. But I'm not quite done on Prince William, because later this day, he then attended the Global Summit for United for Wildlife. The annual summit centres around environmental crime, such as the illegal wildlife trade and the destruction of habitats. They also celebrate those who defend and protect the territories and the lands. In his speech, Prince William announced a landmark partnership to not just protect wildlife, but also the indigenous defenders of nature in the Amazon. In 2024 alone, 1.7 million hectares of the Amazon has been completely cleared. And over 120 people, activists, campaigners, indigenous leaders, people that are putting up a fight, trying to stop the deforestation of the Amazon, have disappeared or being killed. What this partnership will enable Indigenous leaders and protectors to do is to access legal support, emergency evacuations, safe houses, humanitarian aid, and secure communications to keep them as safe as possible. And in his speech, he said, "We cannot manage our forests while their protectors live in fear, and we cannot protect environmental defenders without the territories that they defend. This initiative means working in partnership with those who know the land best to strengthen Indigenous-led systems, deliver legal aid and emergency support. We must protect the protectors if we are to ensure the future of these critical environments." Yet again, another incredible initiative that has been created by the Prince of Wales and the Royal Foundation that isn't about preaching to people from their ivory tower. It's about working on projects, bringing together organisations from all around the world, creating something that works. Prince William with the Royal Foundation, with all of these people that are working on United for Wildlife, all of the governments around the world that have signed up to it, are now able to actually make change for good. They are changing people's lives. They are protecting not just the wildlife, but also the Indigenous people. And like Prince William says, that is just as important, if not more. Now, moving away from the real royals who are actually doing good in the world to the ex-royals of Montecito who talk a lot of talk but don't actually do the walk. Well, we've had a few announcements, naturally timed again to coincide with Prince William's Earthshot Prize. We've had a few announcements, as we know, from Harry and appearances. But let's start with the incredible award-winning business founder that is Meghan and her As Ever range, who she has now successfully opened her very own store. No, that's not quite true. She's got a table full of her stuff in the Godmother's bookstore. For some unknown reason, these women seem to have completely aligned themselves with Meghan. And Meghan, my guess, has completely aligned herself to them because they keep giving her a microphone. But yes, this is plugged to the world like this is a huge thing. Meghan's very first own store. You've literally set up a market stall inside one of your friends' bookstores. So no, it's not quite the big fanfare that Meghan likes people to believe it is. And it also didn't take long for, I would say, a bit of backlash to happen. Not because of Meghan's stuff per se, but actually to do with Meghan selling alcohol on their premises for which they do not have a license. They had apparently applied for it, but never actually received the okay. So they might find themselves in a spot of bother. It is almost as if Meghan is in fact cursed. Now, in the biggest announcement that she did, which again was perfectly timed around about the ceremony for the Earthshot Prize, and it did in fact knock Prince William off of some of the pages, Meghan returns to acting. Meghan returns to Hollywood. I'm sorry, Meghan was never in Hollywood. Meghan got a few bit part cameo roles. Her most successful career to date was on Suits. I won't take that away from her, but when you add up the number of minutes of screen time over those 7 seasons that she still likes to brag about, she was still just the girlfriend of one of the main characters, and she was only on screen for 138 minutes. I don't know about you, but I'm pretty certain most films, feature-length films these days, are longer than that. So of course, which is normal for Meghan, any press release, any announcement of anything new that Meghan's doing, she's got to be bigged up first. And Meghan had apparently been inundated with offers for her to return to the big screen, and Meghan had to fight her way through all these incredible offers until she found a role which she felt was true to her. And of course, this amazing role that Meghan's got, well, she gets to play herself. Yes, Meghan is apparently making a cameo in a Lily Collins comedy film. For those of you that don't know who Lily Collins is, she is Emily in Paris and Phil Collins' daughter. Now, as for Meghan playing herself, one does wonder, which personality will she be engaging that day? Will we have Meghan the humanitarian that appears on screen, feeding orphans in some remote refugee camp? Or will we have Meghan, the superb business founder, the multi-million-pound award-winning... Oh, no, wait. Oh, she has won a few awards for a podcast. I mean, that was excellent. So perhaps that will be a personality that she chooses. Meghan, the successful podcaster, children's author, TV star, cook, trad wife. What are we going to go for here? Or will Meghan go that one step further and try and poke the royal family yet again, and she will come out playing a Princess Meghan this time, perhaps the second coming of Diana? We know that Meghan has been doing everything in her power of late to wind up the royal family and to cash in on her royal connections. Who she will be is anybody's guess, but one thing I don't need to guess is the fact that I think her appearance in that film will be the death blow and the film will flop. Now, speaking of flopping, or rather flip-flopping, Harry is doing some of that himself in his quest to really overshadow not just Prince William with the Earthshot Prize, but of course to get himself in the headlines in the run-up to Remembrance. Harry has also penned an essay. Well, a member of staff did, I'd imagine, or it could be ChatGPT. But the essay is called The Bond, the Banter, the Bravery, What It Means to Be British. This is a man that has broken every bond possible, from lifelong friendships, from colleagues in the army, from his own family. A man that is perpetually miserable, and when he does try banter, it generally falls flat and it looks as painful as having a root canal. And as for Harry talking about bravery, because he is of course trying to remind the world every time he talks about we must remember veterans even when they don't wear the uniform, we know what he's really saying is you must remember my 10 years of service, even though I don't wear the uniform. Well, the uniform you gave up because you quit. You went against your oaths and tried to, torch down the monarchy. Let's not forget that Harry has had several high-ranking army officers speak out against him, people that have met him, veterans that have served alongside him. A lot of people in the army have called him out for his atrocious behaviour, covering a multitude of subjects. And he also endangered the lives of serving personnel when he decided to release his kill count. For Harry to talk about what it's like to be British now after everything he's done, I remember this is a man that complained about the British stiff upper lip like it's a negative thing. I tell you what, Sonny Jim, it's what kept many of us going through the generations, including the greatest generation, who saw horrors unimaginable to this day. No matter how many films and documentaries you see, it still cannot compare to what that generation lived through. And they don't complain, and they don't moan about it, and they certainly don't try and convince the world regularly how hard done by their life is. Now, because I'm feeling nice, I'm not going to bore you with his 647 worded snorefest of an essay. But in most part, it's just Harry telling people to think not only of the fallen, but the living, who still carry the weight of service and war with them every day. What, like your grandmother and your grandfather, Harry? You can pose kissing the hands of as many old ladies as you like, buddy. Everybody still remembers what you did to your grandfather when he was dying, and your grandmother in her final months on this earth. He didn't bother to go see her and kiss her hand or beg for forgiveness. So him talking now about remembering veterans, they both served in World War II. But of course, this is Harry. Do as I say, not as I do. I mean, where would we be every single year, guys, if it wasn't for Harry talking to the UK, to Canada, to Australia, to the United States, even on Veterans Day? Where would we all be without Harry telling us each year the importance to remember those that have served and still serve in another sanctimonious speech? I mean, I'm grateful this time that it was written rather than having to watch another video of him preaching from a podium. Now, as for Harry being on the podium, whilst he was there at the dinner gala, he did give a speech where he addressed the recent controversy regarding him attending a Dodgers Blue Jays game and committing baseball treason. He had obviously been given this speech and rehearsed it on the plane ride over, because not only did he say this then, he had also said it earlier in the day when he was being interviewed and he was presented with a Blue Jay hat. Tell me what you think of his excuses for committing said crime.
Secondly, I was under duress. There wasn't much choice. I was invited to the LA Dodgers box, or the dugout, by the owner himself, so I was doing what I thought was the polite thing to do.
So he was under duress. He was basically forced to go and forced to wear a hat. The problem is, people on social media managed to spot that he arrived at the game with a baseball cap in his hand already. Harry will now definitely be booed whether he is at a Blue Jays game or a Dodgers game. Now, of course, no trip would be complete for Harry unless he had his image rehabilitation moment. Now, this does sound cynical, but I believe this is what he was up to, because the other members of the press were not allowed. Harry, with Meghan's guidance, of course, we saw this in Colombia and Nigeria, they only allow 1 or 2 chosen members that are obviously going to write favourably about them. Well, they also took their personal photographer. As I said, you saw the Temu Royal earlier trying to do his best "I'm not really jealous of my big brother" posing. But in a move that Harry and his team have done, which has disgusted people and personally proved to me that this was all about Harry's PR moment, he went to visit veterans at the Sunning Hill Veterans Centre, which is a hospital, and it was closed off to the public, but not just the general public. Even the veterans' families were not allowed to be there whilst Harry went round and posed for photographs. I don't know about you, but I certainly cannot imagine the Princess Royal, Catherine or William, the King and Queen. I cannot imagine any of them going to visit veterans in a hospital environment, in a hospice environment, and shutting down their family members from attending. This is just as disgusting when Harry and Meghan shut down an LA cemetery and went in there with their own personal photographer to take photographs of them looking really sad so they could clash the photos with members of the royal family that were laying wreaths at the cenotaph. This is just evidence to me that this was not about the veterans. This was Harry using the veterans, in my opinion, so he could try and overshadow his apparent arch nemesis in his mind, Prince William and the Earthshot Prize, yet again. And also, it's another way to stick his middle finger up at the head of the armed forces and the King of Canada, otherwise known as Pa. And yet, I'm in no doubt that the mainstream media, probably even while I'm filming this video, will be putting out a press release soon saying that Harry shows yet again that he is still a massive star in the royal family and should be welcomed back. No, he shouldn't. We don't want him, America doesn't want him, and I highly doubt Canada wants him. So he might find himself, rather than being a prince without a title, a man without a country. Anyway, guys, I will be back with you really soon because I'm going to cover all of the royal appearances regarding Remembrance, including a very special moment where Prince George escorted his mother to the Remembrance Festival. Take care for now. See you soon. Bye.